Today we're getting a first look at the Kao Karuak event, which is new to the Season of Conquest and offers literally millions of crystals every time you complete it. Stick around for everything we've seen so far. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming and this video has been sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms. And last night we made a video reviewing all of the crystal changes we could find, but I couldn't show you Kao Karuak until now because this is an event that unlocks with the Lost Kingdoms Chronicles. So as your Lost Kingdom advances through its stages, this becomes available. Now I'm going to go over the rules, I'm going to show you how it looks, and a big thank you to Snappy for taking these pictures and recording this footage. So before the trial begins, you may choose the difficulty level. This is just like the Karuak ceremony in that regard, except difficulty levels are actually locked based on the Kingdom Chronicles. So you can only start by battling on easy difficulty. Now, the difficulty levels are unlocked as those Kingdom Chronicles advance. However, in order to do a harder difficulty, you need to complete the previous level of difficulty. So you've got to go through all of the levels here, and you're going to want to because doing this is going to give you a lot of crystals. Now, it says you can only take the trial of Kao Karuak alone, so nobody else can help you. The target of each trial will be shown on the map for a limited time, so you have to complete it within the time frame or you fail the trial. And when the trial's target enters battle, it will activate the challenge time limit. And this is relevant, and I'm going to explain why in a second. You must complete the trial before the timer ends, or you fail the trial. Every time you complete a trial, the reward will be sent to you via mail, and Snappy actually did us the courtesy of showing us all of that. So let's get a look at his run at the highest level of the easy difficulty for Kao Karuak. Okay, here you can see he summoned level 30. This is easy difficulty. This is the highest level of easy difficulty. You battle levels 1 through 30. In the easy level of difficulty, and it costs action points to summon the boss. It looked like it was 100, but it doesn't cost you any action points to actually fight it, which is good. Here you can see he's using his combat marches. I don't know if it counts as a barbarian. I would assume it does not, in which case you don't really need peacekeeping commanders, and because it doesn't cost action points, you're not really gaining much. So theoretically, you'd want a tanky march to be your main march, and then some high damage marches to go with it. However, you can see that it spawned a totem right over here, which he's going to go and take out. And I think he'll even flash through some of the abilities that this little boss has. It deals continuous damage to 3 random targets in a circular area, damage factor 1000 for 3 seconds. So that's its damage ability. That's its active skill. Requires 1000 rage to use. The second skill summons a flame totem. And while the flame totem lasts, it heals 1% of the troops' units every 3 seconds. So that's why you want to take that out right away. The totem heals. This is very familiar. In Ian's Ballads, we've seen this before. And then, Ring of Flames. Troops gain 50% increased counterattack damage. Oh, wow. So even your marches that are just hitting off to the side here are going to take a lot of damage because 50% counterattack is actually a very meaningful amount. So now we understand why he's sort of pulling off the boss here to go take out these totems, because for every 3 seconds, it is getting healed. There's the AoE, I believe. And now he's back on to this boss. Because he's right next to his city, he could, if he wanted, run a march back and bring it out fresh. There is an advantage to that. The advantage is that he gets a full health march to go beat on the boss, and it doesn't cost any action points, it looks like, to actually go and hit the boss. So why the heck not, right? And I think that's something he's going to start to do in just a minute here, is run a few marches home and then just bring them out fresh, which I think makes sense to do. So there we go. Yeah, bringing out a fresh march. Snappy is about 40 million power in this video, and I don't think he's whaled out on technology in order to do this. So it looks like the easy difficulty of Kao Karuak is very achievable, which is good news, because the total amount of crystals this thing gives, it looks like is in the realm of like over 2.5 million crystals, and we'll look over all of those rewards in just a second. So here you go. Easy difficulty completed. We get a look now at some of these rewards. The first thing I want to show you actually is that this event lasts for the duration of the KvK. So the event is going to last, as far as I can tell, for the entirety of your KvK, and as the Chronicles unlock, the additional stages are added. So theoretically, you could kind of do this whenever you want. But there is, as the game showed, 2 time factors here. One is when you summon the boss, it'll despawn after some amount of time. And the other is once you start fighting the boss, it will require you to win within a certain time frame. And I think that's because it doesn't cost any action points. You can infinitely go back from your city and hit the boss. And I guess they're trying to prevent just like an insane amount of doing that to take out a hard difficulty that you otherwise wouldn't be able to beat. If we keep going here, I think we'll get the rewards in just a second from his mail. Oh, here's the Chronicles, by the way, that I was talking about, where you can see that different difficulty levels will unlock further and further throughout the KvK. And then now we get those rewards in the mail. This is a lot of crystals. 150,000 tokens. Okay. And then every individual level is also giving a smaller amount of crystals here. And then boom. I guess the every 5 levels gives you a little bit of extra crystal, which is kind of what you would expect based on the fact that this is just mocked right off of the Karuak ceremony. I mean, it's got basically the same name, right? So this event is pretty exciting because it's giving everybody, free to play or not, an opportunity to get a huge amount of crystals, which is a big win. In fact, this even gave season coins and also a sovereign key, and I imagine the harder difficulties are just going to give more of those. And for what it's worth, I have been hearing that spenders have advanced very, very far in the technology, in the new design of the technology tree. In fact, let me jump in game and talk about what I'm hearing. So I'm currently in a Heroic Anthem KvK that popped before the new crystal technology arrived in game. So I have the old crystal technology. And I'm hearing rumor that people who are spending on the very first day of entering their KvK are getting all the way up to improved morale 6 or 7. And the thing that I find so surprising about that is that in order to get that far, not only are you getting way more crystals, but also you would need to have a reduced crystal cost for some of the research potentially. You would need to have a reduced crystal cost for some of the buildings that you're constructing, maybe. So I don't know how true that is, but if that rumor is true, then like everybody is going to advance much, much further through the tech tree than they were before. And I think that overall, that's a very good thing. It means more players with more technology means more balanced fighting for everybody, free to play or pay to win. It means the gap between free to play and especially the gap between low spenders and pay to win is dramatically reduced, which I think is a good thing. I was advocating for that actually in a previous video. In fact, I'll put a card up in the top if you want to see what my predictions were. I was suggesting that they would maybe lower the stat boost that the technology gives, but they've really just gone the opposite route and said, okay, we'll just make it a lot easier to get a lot of crystals so more people have access to more of the technology, which, again, I think is a very good thing for the balance of the game and is honestly a pretty major step in a direction that I feel like we haven't seen in a while. Like, normally we see stuff added to the game, like high-end equipment and city themes, but this is actually narrowing the gap. It's good. If you want to see more information about all the other crystal events that are now in the game, I'll have a card up at the top to the video where I covered that earlier today. And until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies.